All right. Good morning and welcome everyone. This is our weekly Wednesday WomEnergy webinar. And today we have an amazing featured guest. And, each and every Wednesday, we're here to inspire, uplift, and connect you with some amazing women with stories that will inspire you to take the leap of faith in your life, to conquer new things, and to learn new things in your life as we biohack for better brains, health, wealth, and beauty. So today, our featured guest is none other than a beautiful woman named Naomi. She lives right outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and her corporate marketing background has really helped her develop her own successful businesses over the years. So she left her really high demanding corporate job, and she left that to stay at home with our two beautiful daughters. And, not only that, she developed a very successful children and pet product business that utilize high-end children and pet boutique channels throughout the entire United States. But life changed for her in 2011. A tragedy hit, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And for her, she turned that tragedy into triumph, and she now has stepped into her greater calling. This woman is truly gifted in the area of networking and connecting others. And as a breast cancer survivor, an activist, and a mentor, which is key this month. This is October. And she has now had a greater understanding of the health and wellness sector and is really using her education and knowledge in that space to help others. So she comes at this with enthusiasm for educating others and helping build financial stability. So as a busy mom, Naomi, with your active two daughters, 12 and 10, as well as being a wife to a chief financial officer, I don't know how you do it, but you still find time to, enjoy living an active lifestyle. You serve on multiple boards. You run your own corporation. You love hiking, paddleboarding, yoga, downhill skiing, and you're just very active. So I am so excited that you're on here. Thank you so much for joining us on the WomEnergy. It's definitely a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, Jessica. And it's, for me, October it's one of those months that it's sort of a bittersweet month because, everyone knows that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but I really want to talk about it being Breast Cancer Educational Month because we all know that we know people that have cancer, but I'm like, what are we doing to actually educate ourselves? And I think that's so important. I tell people all the time, you don't need to stop learning just because you're not in school anymore. Every day learn something new. And that's what I always tell people to strive for. But I just sort of wanted to highlight, yes, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I just want to tell people that your life can change in an instant. And that's what happened to me in 2011. Actually, the week before I was diagnosed, my husband was accepting a new position to move us from the city of Chicago to Atlanta. And when we got that word the next week that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, they basically said, you're not moving anywhere. You're staying put, going through treatment here. And as great as the medical system is, they also put the fear of God in you. So my whole thing is after I went through cancer and my treatments, because I did go through chemo, I decided that I was like, I really want to be a voice in this community. I want to give people hope. And I think that's what all my friends will now say. I'm like the biggest hope doctor that's out there because I will tell people, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but guess what? You are going to find silver linings along the way. So I'm totally blessed to be able to really step into this powerful position of now just educating women and mentoring them. And so I'm involved in a wonderful project called the Licorice Project with some other breast cancer survivors as well. And we just are really trying to empower people to find those silver linings in the breast cancer world. We sort of say it's like that unexpected treat you're going to find along the way.
That is so fantastic. I love that you've really stepped into your power and taken really something that some people think is tragic or just really less hopeful and turned it into something that you can now give that gift to others. You've triumphed over it. Now, you say you work in the health and wellness sector. I'd love you to kind of talk more about the charity and the foundation that you work with and where you serve on boards. But you mentioned something to me when we were talking offline about going through chemo, and some people have different varying beliefs about that. What do you do to educate people that are looking for more of a health and wellness option, or maybe they've gone through chemo too? What can you share with our viewers that have been kind of experiencing the same thing as you?
So I guess the biggest thing is I tell people all the time that we actually have genes that are turned on by the environment. So we actually can biohack our genes. And that's the greatest thing. Jessica, you and I have had this multiple conversations about biohacking genes. And it's truly so important that people start to educate themselves on this sector in wellness. And you're not going to hear from your doctors. I tell people all the time, you have to be your own advocate. And that's what I really am trying to get this information out to people, that just because you have this set of genes, guess what? It's not really your set of genes. It could become down from the environment. And so we have ways to be able to upregulate the proper genes in our body. And so I tell people all the time, you got to look at your overall lifestyle. It's not just one thing. There's a great book out there that I recommend to everyone that they need to read, and that's called Radical Remission by Kelly Turner. And I actually was just reading some of it now.
Oh, fantastic. I think that's a really good book for people of any walk of life.
Any walk of life. Mm-hmm. Yes. I tell people every single person should read this book because it talks about the 9 key components of what these people actually all did. They're all given, days, months to live. And what they did was there's 9 key elements. And of course, a lot of it has to do with diet. It has to do with supplementation, our food, but it also has to do with our mind and I think our spirit too. I don't think we give enough credit that it's not just one sector of wellness that you have to look at, but the whole body as a whole. So 100%. I think that's so important. I just tell people that, you can't just trust medical doctors because they don't know everything when it comes to nutrition. And my whole thing is, I went through chemo. I didn't have to go through radiation. But I know I can build my immune system back up. And there's certain things that use, food to heal our bodies and herbs to heal our bodies. Those are like the key things that are really going to help with, your immune system. And that's where it's a breakdown of your immune system.
Right. You hit the nail on the head, biohacking anything in life to say, hey, you don't have to settle for what somebody tells you that you have to be or where you are. You can start to work on your own body's unique mechanism because our bodies are amazing biological machines. So I think, it's important. The WomEnergy is just that, because now we understand that all of our mitochondria, all of our energy come from our mother. And so being able to say, hey, you don't have to settle for what has run through your genetics. You can literally change what's going on and change the outcome. So I love that you're biohacking that you're educating women and men. I know men that have dealt with breast cancer as well. And this is a very profound topic. So really just highlighting the educational piece, because everyone's aware, or at least most people are, but the education piece to say, what do I need to do? Where are the resources? Where can I go to? And, who's fighting it with me, or who's conquering with me, or who's going through this struggle together so we can rise above. So you have had an incredible experience. There's one time you were talking about an instance where you went through a complete transformation physically and how you use that for the better. And I just love this story. Will you share that with our audience?
Oh, are you talking about when I was losing my hair, Jessica? Is that the conversation? Mm-hmm. Yes. So basically I knew that I was going to be losing all my hair. So I decided, I'm going to choose joy instead of just having my husband shave my head in the bathroom, which I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine having to do that to him. I've always had long hair. Actually, about a month before I was diagnosed, I donated my hair for the second time in my life. And so I'm not really attached to my hair. And so there is a foundation out there called St. Baldrick's, which actually is a pediatric cancer foundation. And all the money that's raised actually goes directly to research. And so I sought that out, that I knew that I could shave my head in front of a ton of friends and family. And it was over St. Patty's Day weekend. And so basically, I love the fact that I was able to use social media. And this was 6 years ago, before social media really was where it is today. And I was able to just say, hey, you know what? You're going to end up spending $5 this week on a Starbucks or something else. Why not put it towards a good cause? And literally in 2 weeks' time, Jessica, I was able to raise, I think it was close to like $4,000 or $5,000.
Fantastic.
Just because what people were doing is they were spreading that information. And that's how I tell people all the time, information is being transferred very fast these days because we have technology that's out there. With webinars, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. Actually, Instagram really wasn't around 6 years ago. People weren't using it like they are today. But I had people donating to this cause And they loved my message that I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not going down crying in my bathroom, having my husband shave. I'm going out with glory. And it was so much fun. And I was able to actually honor one of my daughter's classmates. My youngest was in preschool at the time. And one of her classmates was actually just diagnosed with cancer a couple weeks before. So she had already lost her hair. She had this beautiful head of curls. And I get choked up every time I say this. So if I start crying, bear with me. But after I got done and they shaved my head in front of all these people in this Irish bar in downtown Chicago, this little girl who's, 4.5 years old came up to me and just said, thank you so much. You look just like me now. And
that's
for
beautiful.
me, that was like worth every moment of that meaning, just to have her realize that she wasn't alone in this. So
100%.
I feel like if we look for the good whenever we can, it's going to help heal our bodies too. We're not going to stay in this, funk. I tell my girls this all the time, that you have to find the positive outcome in it.
Absolutely. I was listening to a Super Soul Sunday with Oprah and Brene Brown, and it's so powerful, the mindset, but also the mentality of flipping your mindset forward to say, hey, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. You could turn a negative into a positive. And I love that is what you are doing. You're really just backing this and saying, hey, this is something that if it happened to you, or if it happened to someone love and care about, let's teach you, let's give you some tools to move through this journey, whether it's your family, your loved ones, your spouse, your significant other, or yourself, to say, hey, there are resources, there is a community, there are people that love and support you that have been through this, and they've come out on top on the other end. So we're here to help you. So talk to us about some of the resources you have and where people can go and find you. I know this is very key. And then I have a couple questions for you as well, but I want people to understand that there are different platforms. You mentioned a nonprofit that you work with and some other groups. Can you kind of spell those out and let people know where to go to, and we'll drop them in at the end of this.
Absolutely. So the one nonprofit that I'm actually serving on the board is called the Licorice Project. Love this group of women, and we're really trying to almost build like ambassadors in other cities so that they can do this and have these support groups for people so they can turn to and actually put, a name and a face together. Since I was under the age of 40 when I was diagnosed, I really wanted the positive people and have open conversations. So this has just been able to give people, the comfort to actually share and put names and faces together. So we have a private group as well on Facebook. After you join our community online, we will add you to that. And then I'm just very active in the alternative worlds of breast cancer as well. Even though I did the traditional chemotherapy, I just tell people, look at all your resources. And I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's you have to do everything together, Jessica. And then actually I have my own website now. So I'm under construction, but it's called ohmyword.net. And you can find more information and different resources that I really share with my groups out there. And, I just tell people, like, here's the tools, and I want you to go ahead and just comb through it, because I think it's so overwhelming when you're first diagnosed. And that's why, people just start to shut down. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to turn. And that's even just in health and wellness. I think that's a lot of times why people don't even, join a gym or start, an eating program, because they don't know which one to go to, because there's paleo, there's, the Whole30 that's out there. It's like, which way do you navigate? So if I tell people everyone's body is different and you have to really listen to your body, but if you can tune in and sort of take what you need and leave the rest behind, that's the best thing that you can do for yourselves. And then I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, Naomi Damask. I love to connect with people on Instagram because I think that's just a great way to really share information. And then I have actually an educational page around nutrigenomics on Facebook as well. So if people want to connect with me on Facebook, I'll add them to that educational page. Yeah, so there's lots of great sources that are out there.
Awesome. So you guys, here you have it. You have a platform to really plug into, so many resources. Naomi, thank you so much for not only providing that, but for really just taking that leap of faith in your own life to kind of biohack that process and come out and be able to share that story with others. I know people that have gone through it that are kind of like, well, I went through it. Nobody else could benefit. Guys, your story is powerful. And ladies, you've heard from Naomi, and that is so key. So those resources are incredible. I'll make sure we get them on here. I know our WomEnergy Instagram just started following you. We love your page. And we're excited about what you're doing for others and what you're doing in your community and across the country. You have a powerful voice. So thank you for really rising to the occasion and sharing that. So let's switch gears for a second, because you are an incredible entrepreneur. But it started out with a unique experience. I think it was with handbags, correct? So talk to us about, okay, how do you balance being a wife, a mother, on multiple boards, and going from high-end, stressful corporate America to lifestyle entrepreneur? What was that transition period, and how did that pan out?
So Jessica, I really did not plan that well. I was climbing that corporate ladder really fast. And I came home. We lived in the city of Chicago, and I had the privilege of actually, I tell people all the time, I was sort of the pioneer of working from home for this major corporation, because I was the first one to actually sort of do it and put my foot down for it, especially in my department. And I came home from a run one day, and I was pregnant, and I turned to my husband and I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And he's like, what? This wasn't our game plan. I said, you know what? I've started this side business a while ago. I was designing and selling handbags, sort of just for fun. And I was like, you have kids. They sleep all the time, right? I was naive. And so I was like, I'm going to quit. And I left behind a very successful, very well-paying job, thinking that I was like overnight going to make a success with these handbags.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing extremely well. But the problem was my baby came out and she was not a sleeper. So I was ending up having to hire someone to come and watch her so I could sew during the day, which then sort of morphed into a new business platform. And how you're saying that I actually sold to high-end children's and pet boutiques. I started designing hair clips, and people would stop me on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago and ask me where I got these. And I was like, I did it. And I really didn't think about it at the time. And it was actually my sister that gave me the courage to reach out to some of these high-end boutiques. And I started selling to those. And it grew like wildfire. But the whole thing is, I realized that even though I was home with my kids, I was taking time away from them, because I was the only one that had to produce this and make it. I tried hiring people, but when your name's associated with your product line and you have high standards, it makes it really difficult to hire someone on if the quality is not going to be where you want it to be.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
I know that as a business owner, I started my own business. I still run my own business, but I know that if I don't show up, nothing happens. And you're always working more than anyone else if you own your own corporation.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I understand the need for trying to find and discover leverage, right?
Yes. Yes. And so basically, after, when 2011 hit and I was diagnosed with cancer, I realized that I can't keep doing this demanding job. Even though I had loved being home with my girls, I had to realize, I have to come up with something that's actually going to create an asset and leverage my time and be more mobile. I didn't know what it was, Jessica, at the given time. I just realized that if I need to step away and really care for my health again, I need my business to continue to grow. Because that was the whole thing, is I had to actually put my business on hold because I couldn't keep growing it, because I had to take care of myself and my health. And so actually my best friend in the whole wide world called me with this opportunity. And I was like, girl, I'm trying to wrap up my one business. I am, working on a marriage that's been bumpy, because when you're diagnosed with cancer, it shakes up a lot of feelings. And a lot of it was, we didn't realize it at this time, but fear for my husband. And I don't blame him. To have a first grader and a preschooler and your best friend is now you're watching her struggle with her health. And I'm like the one that was always like, I'll get it done. And now here's, your mother-in-law moving in with you to take care of your wife. And he's traveling, to Atlanta from Chicago. It's just that was really hard. And so I didn't know what it was going to be, but I love the fact that my best friend saw this opportunity, saw this community of people, and said, now's the time for us to run. Here's a platform for us to get involved in. And it had something to do with health and wellness. And after I took a look at the information, Jessica, I was like, I'd be crazy not to be involved. Because I knew, like we were talking about different resources, one resource that I always go to, and I tell people all the time, is go to pubmed.gov. It's a great thing to actually do some digging, especially when they ask you about different, for me, it was different cancer drugs that they wanted to put me on. I could then do all the research there. So I was very familiar with that. So it's just, I now am able to have a mobile business so I can travel, which is so important to me because I'm like, I just want to seize the moment with my family because like none of us know how long we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, you know what? I want to make sure I make the most with my girls and my husband and my family and my close friends. So having this type of platform that I can actually travel and just have my phone to do my business with is awesome and amazing.
That's so fantastic. And I love that you have really just stayed open to opportunity and open to different modalities. And I think it's so key to really do your research. So, if you have to be on a medication, go to PubMed. I know from being in the pharmaceutical medical industry myself, that is a great resource to say, hey, should I be on this? What are the studies? Is this something I can take? And then also understanding that, there are so many different options out there to not only leverage your time, but to open your life to new experiences and truly live life to the fullest. And you are doing that. And I just love the fact that you have taken the leap of faith out of corporate America, done something that, most people wouldn't imagine to. So what advice can you give to our audience and to our viewers of people that are saying, hey, maybe I'm close to that tipping point of jumping into something, or I don't know if I can do it, or maybe they're doing it and they're struggling a little bit on the entrepreneurial roller coaster? As a
Yep.
successful woman, wife, mother, business owner, what advice can you share with them? What are some biohacking taps in life that
It
you
really boils down to just taking action and not waiting till you're ready. Because are we ever ready? Like I tell people, no, we're not. Like you are going to only get better as you do it. And I tell my girls this all the time. It's sort of like I used to play piano growing up, and I'm also an athlete. That I just didn't go step on a field or sit down at the piano and be able to master a piece. It took practice. And so as an entrepreneur, you're going to stumble. You're going to feel like you made a fool out of yourself and like, oh, did I say the right things? Did I do the right things? But you're only going to improve on that. So I'm like, you know what? Why wait? Just get started and just do it. And just know that if you're not sure of yourself, surround yourself with a really powerful people that are maybe already in that same arena and lean on them. Have a mentor. And if that mentor might not be, an actual physical person that you can talk to, it might be books, or it might be, webinars or podcasts. But I just say you have to have someone that's feeding your soul and something really positive. And I think you and I were talking about it the other day is, I think I set my mindset every day with a thing it's called Savers. And it was some other women that actually told me about this. And I was like, this is awesome. So I now have an accountability partner. Her name is Lisa. And we text back and forth every day, just saying done after we've finished it. And it's called Savers. And it's S stands for silence. So it's at your meditation or prayers. A is affirmations. And, I'm big about affirmations. I know some people think it's crazy, but I'm like, how powerful is it to say, I am strong, I am special. For me, I always say I am healed because I just want my body to always be healed. And then the V is for visualizing. Like we need to visualize where we are going in this world. And for an entrepreneur, that's huge. You got to have those goals, those visions. And then E is exercise, because that is so key for us. And you'll hear that, especially in the cancer world, the number one thing they'll say is exercise. You need to be doing tons of exercise. And then we have R is reading. And so I read something, even if it's something short, just read something that's empowering to you every day. It might be a new article about being an entrepreneur. It might be something in health and wellness. It might be something for mindset, just always reading. And then S is for scribbling and journaling. And so for me, my journaling is always my gratitudes. I like to write down what I'm thankful for and really, be grateful for all that I have around me. And if it might be something as simple as clean water. And then I just, I think my whole thing is look for the good in every day. I tell my girls the one piece of advice I say to them, and before I drop them off at school every day, I say, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Because I think it's so incredibly important that we are kind to ourselves and that we love ourselves. And so I think when you start to have more self-worth, you are going to be able to do amazing things in this world and impact other people.
That is so profound. I love your tips. You guys take action. Take action. Don't be afraid to fail forward, because practice makes progress, right? Nobody's perfect. I have a girlfriend that's in one of my yogi friends. She's doing the perfection rebellion. And I love that, because you have to just jump in and do it. So savers, guys, let's run over this again. Silence, affirmation, so important. Visualization, key to success. Exercise, sweat once a day. I love that. Reading, pour into your mind, because your mind comes through everything that you do. And then scribbling, I love that creative flair that allows you to just open up. And you said you were talking to your daughters about being kind, and I love that. There's that new movie Cinderella, and she says, just be kind and have courage. And that was the advice the mother gave to her daughter. And so go through life, be kind, have courage, and truly live fearless. I love that you're doing that, Naomi. So thank you so much for being on. You guys have her website, you have some resources. Any last minute tips, a quote, something that really you stick by that you want to leave with our audience?
You know what? My whole thing is actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, if it's even with love, it's always actions. You've got to put forth actions. So anything you're doing in this world, you can talk about it all day long, but until you actually do something about it, it's just talk. And talk can be cheap. We all know that. So I tell people, just have that courage of just taking action. One small step is going to help you reach that bigger goal in life.
Fantastic. Well, you guys heard it from the best. Naomi, thank you so much. A breast cancer survivor, amazing mom and entrepreneur. We will have this posted on our WomEnergy page. She'll be on our Instagram, our social media, our Twitter. So follow this wonderful, beautiful human. Reach out to her for any resources if you are going through or have been through something. We'd love to hear your stories. Comment, show her some love. Naomi, thanks again for being on today. You are a gem.
Thanks. Have a great day, Jessica.
You too. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.